Alright, so this is technically day 1 of week 3. I did not practice at all. I edited for like 8 hours. Practice starts tomorrow. Did you know that squatting position is supposed to improve brain function? Alright, so I had a pretty late start today. The first thing I practiced was at 4 p.m. And I worked on West Side Story, the drum set part. Or at least I tried to before I got kind of annoyed. So I went on YouTube and tried to find recordings of people playing this part.
It's fucked.
I couldn't find anything of people playing the part that I need to learn because they're always playing something else. So it seems more and more fake. I have a lesson tomorrow, and I'll ask about that in the lesson, I think. I spent about half an hour working on a secret, spooky xylophone project that will be unveiled at a later date. And then the last thing I practiced was tambourine and xylophone. I worked on the triplets and chabrier, Danse Bohème for Carmen. For Carmen, I found that I really need to work on the 8th note finger roll, and I worked on time feel for Carnival Overture. And then I spent some time working on Les Noces xylophone. A lot of it was just playing scales to get the notes right for that. And I don't have to play the bottom half. There was a mislabeling in my preparation. Anyways, that was my day. I practiced about an hour and a half. Gonna shoot for a bit more tomorrow before the lesson, get the panic motivation. That's always good. That was week 3, day 2. Oh, time is flying. See you tomorrow. Good evening. This is 9 o'clock on day 3 of week 3. Let's go over what I practiced today. I practiced quite a bit today. Started off with some cymbals, and then I worked on some bass drum, Tchaikovsky and Rite of Spring. Kind of decided on what tempo I'm going for. I tried to do some cymbals for Czech 4 and Romeo and Juliet, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to do it with the 20s. But I might end up using those anyways. Worked on Carmen, tambourine, figuring out when to use fist and leg and whatnot. Found out something interesting, how the sound changes quite a bit depending on how open your thumb is. I think there's a bit more of a pop when your thumb is open and less so when it's closed. Probably has something to do with the air pocket that's created there. Worked on quiet triangle and also loud triangle. For Scheherazade movement 4, I'm gonna play more horizontal just to get more articulation. It's a lot easier to get out the notes that way and make them sound good. Worked on Rite of Spring, Czech 4, bass drum. Practiced peak dom. And I noticed like time feel things I wanted to fix with everything. Worked on Scheherazade movement 3 for some doubles. Practiced vibraphone pedaling. I'm still trying to tune that in. Glock magic flute. Wazo. The time feel for that is getting a lot better. For Les Noces, I realized that if my left elbow sticks out a little bit more in this run, it hits the double stop a bit cleaner. And then the last thing I practiced was some Rite of Spring bass drum, Time Feel, and ran through some excerpts with Mateen.
That time you barely used any pedal though.
Just earlier this evening, I took a lesson with Andrew Harris, who teaches percussion at the University of Ottawa. Parking there is a nightmare. I asked him a lot of questions. We were there for like 2 hours. Let's see, what did he think about things? He does a lot of pedaling in West Side Story, like the opposite of what Mateen and Scott do. He does a lot, and it's all notated down and stuff. I might go a little bit more in between that. Although what he was doing for the meeting scene is interesting. For Carmen Triangle excerpt, I want more beat 2, or he wants more beat 2 for that attack to be clear. And maybe even more dampening on the 8th notes. Not sure about that though. Scheherazade for aluminum beater, maybe, for more articulation rather than the brass one. It's a little soft sounding. A useful tip for Carmen tambourine is to tap the tambourine as well as do the roll at the same time so that you get the attack right away, even if your roll doesn't start off great. I played Carnival Overture, and to get the 8th notes to be a bit tighter, he had me think of the offbeat, which really helped. Something's wrong with my pique dame snare drum part, so we took a look at that. And there's supposed to be an articulation on C. The roll's supposed to stop there. Yeah, so how much did I practice today? 1 hour. 1 hour and a half, kind of. And then 1, 2:15, 3:15, 3:45. I practiced almost 5 hours today. Hoo. Nice. Not a lot was going on at work. So this was day 3. I'm excited to start tomorrow with these newfound insights about some of these excerpts. See you then. Laundry. Okay, day 4. Following the lesson, I practiced West Side Story vibraphone in the morning, working on the meeting scene, trying some of the pedaling ideas that Andrew was talking about yesterday. Did that for a while, and then I ran through all the xylophone excerpts. Some were better, some were worse. Schumann 3 was really rough. So I practiced that later in the day. And then I worked on Carmen. I was listening to recordings, and just like how in the beginning, after about 8 bars, a lot of the orchestra drops out, the same thing happens before D. So I think I'm going to incorporate that into how I play it. Oh yeah, I played España with the track. Not much to say about that. I was practicing Schumann 3, and I found that these white playwood mallets are really bouncy. And I think I'm going to use them over the Bob Becker Malatech mallets. Those are nice, but they're on the soft side anyways. If they're not going to make it easier to play, then I'm not going to use them. I also spent some time working on A Spooky Surprise. And then later when I got home, I practiced Schumann 3 some more. Phrasing, not even the phrasing really, just playing the right notes and the right rhythm. That's hard enough. Oh, and then I recorded doing some triple stroke roll practice. Partially for clout, but also partially to get better at rolls. Did that for about half an hour. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 hours today. Decent. That was day 4. See you tomorrow. This is day 5 of week 3. And it's also the last day. I'm just out here waiting for this office to open so I can get my earplugs done. And also the molds for some custom in-ears.
A few moments later.
I've got good news and bad news. The good news is I got impressions of my ears done. These are really cool. They're so that I can get some in-ear monitors made. Look at that. That's my whole frickin' ear. The bad news is that I am not taking the audition. I got cut already, and the first round didn't even happen yet. I didn't even get to play. Yeah, so my resume got rejected. Let me read out what they want. The audition committee has laid out very specific requirements which candidates must meet in order to be accepted to attend this audition. Specifically, applicants must have performed as a full-time or extra player with one or more professional orchestras for at least 3 seasons. It's a decently big ask, especially for a small orchestra like Hamilton. I'm very surprised by this. But I guess that means I don't have to practice excerpts for now. Yep. Rejected in the resume round. This was bound to happen at some point, I guess. All that practicing for this. This surprised me for a few reasons. One, Hamilton is a small orchestra. At least I thought it was. Maybe it's bigger than I thought it was. So I didn't think that they would be that picky. And with decently high requirements, 3 seasons is no small number. Also, they didn't say that these things were necessary on the job posting. And the job posting doesn't even say if it's a full-time position or not. It just says per service, and it doesn't even say how many services there are. So that's interesting. Anyways, that's the end of this series. 3 movements rather than 5. Goodbye.